Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Over 90 of the top 100 U.S. accounting firms trust Bill to handle bill pay processes. Why? Because our tools are built on over $1 trillion of secure payments. We're not just moving money. We're powering financial workflows for 500,000 customers. That's a level of expertise you just can't fake. Ready to talk with an expert? Visit Bill.com/proven to get started and grab a $250 gift card as a thank you. Terms and conditions apply. See offer page for details.
Hello and welcome back to the Psych Legal Pop Podcast. This is a podcast where we talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and a therapist. I'm the therapist, Tess Brigham.
And I'm Brooke Brigham. I'm the attorney.
And today we are recapping, talking about Love is Blind, Season 8, Episode 14, aka The Reunion. Brooke, high-level thoughts.
High-level thoughts is, God bless the women of America.
Ugh.
What are we going to do?
I know.
I mean,
what are we going to do? Because the men are getting worse.
The men are getting worse. I feel really badly for women, just any woman trying to date in general. But, these women who are in their 20s and 30s and who are smart and beautiful and educated and, and it's like they just have to deal with so much fuckery.
Yeah. You look at someone like...
Right.
You look at someone like Virginia, gorgeous, PhD, very accomplished, solid person. This is the shit she can't even get this numbnut to bring in the gift. I mean, that whole thing of oh, it's not so heavy, is it? It's like, shut up. Just bring in the gift and shut up.
Yeah. And it turns out that he's just apparently has some really messed up views. I mean,
so much so that she didn't want to reveal them.
Yeah, she revealed them without revealing them. She basically said, here's what I believe.
Yes.
Basically, these are the things I believe, and he believes the opposite. That's the problem.
Oh, okay. You think that? Yeah, I guess that's essentially what she was implying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know if it was the exact opposite, but when she started listing things, I'm like, ooh, gay marriage. Oh, yeah. You're like, oh, Jesus Christ, Devin, where? Huh? Gay marriage?
Well, okay. I mean, maybe after we talk about this, I have a bunch of statistics and stuff, and from our friend Scott Galloway, about young men and just how messed up they are in the dating world and everything. So anyway, we can talk about that at the end because this is not good.
No,
this is not good for women. It's not good. I don't know. How are we going to keep our population going? Women aren't going to want to get married and have a bunch of kids with these guys because one of the things, men date for sex, women date for security. And that's why a lot of women this age, they're dating older because these men are more mature, economically viable, everything. They don't want this fuckery with social media and fucking TikToks. I'm sorry. I'm really cussing a lot. I'm sorry.
Reunion's gotten y'all fired up. You're like, Ben, Joey, this is the best we can do.
I know. In the whole city of Minneapolis, I mean, maybe it's because the normal men wouldn't do this, or they don't need to do this, or, you know, I don't know.
I also think too, you know, if you look at something like Daniel and Taylor, who seem to be really a good match for each other, I think that's a good example. Like, he felt such insecurity about being 5'8", like so much so that I think that did affect how he was. And he's like a good quality person. Listen, as someone who met and married a short king, like, I do think that is a little bit, I feel like, for the women out there, are you wanting 6'5" finance?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I am telling you something. My husband does not sort of check all those boxes, but my God, he takes care of me. He cares about me, and I don't worry and wonder about him at all.
Yeah. So well, it is. Women are not.
We need to stop doing this to men. Like, it really irritates me that it's like, oh, he has to be this tall. He has to be like this. It's like, we don't want to be judged on that level, do we?
No,
you know?
I mean, women are not off the hook. And that was one thing that Scott brought up about only 3% of men are 6 foot or above and make $100,000.
Yes.
3%. Okay. So women have to not lower their standards, but just be open to. But here's the problem is that, okay, in the past, when people the only way you could date was in person.
Yes.
You know, the only way you could communicate, everything had to be in person.
Yes.
It gave you the opportunity over time to say, well, he's not 6 feet, but he smells really good. And
and he's treating
really
me nicely. Yeah.
And I like the way he's spoke to his mother, and, you know, I like this and that. It gives you an opportunity to be like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like this, the height doesn't matter. And men and women don't have those opportunities anymore because so much of the dating is done online over text. You know, they're not spending as much time together. They're not forced, even when they're together, they're online. You know, they're not forced to just be alone with each other and just do regular stuff and not be distracted.
Well, and also, I mean, and I think that the fact that all the ways in which we used to meet people and get to know people are gone. You know, I mean, listen, I'm a big proponent. I believe in remote work. I believe that people need to work in the way in which that works for them. Yes. And I'm not saying we should get rid of remote work, but I do think that, people are at a disadvantage when you're not going into an office every day and you're not interacting with people and meeting people. And you know, by the time that we started dating, or, you know, you've had a lot of practice in terms of chit-chatting with people, knowing how to do that, knowing how to just
approach someone and how to talk to someone in person.
And I think that, unfortunately, I've said this before, there's a lot of men out there, my husband being one of them. I think Daniel's one of them too, which these are not the kind of guys. They're not Dave. They're not Ben. They're not going to come up to you and talk. You know, they feel very shy and they don't know. And but they've got a lot to offer. Like, and I met my husband at work, and it was because he made me laugh. And that was the most important thing to me. And I really did. I did have a moment where I was a little bit like, if my most important thing to me is someone who's going to make me laugh, I've got to be okay with the rest of it.
Yeah, no, and it's true. And it's not just the remote work. It's that people are not going to church. People aren't in person. People are not going to bars.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't even drinking anymore. And, you know, and that's a good thing on some levels, but that's where people used to meet.
Yeah.
And, and it's funny, again, Scott Galloway was saying that, you know, when he was going to college at UCLA, you know, he had, graduated with a 2.7, but he probably would have graduated with a 1.7, but for the fact that every once in a while he would get up, go to campus and go to class on the off chance that he might meet someone that he could get to know, and they might like each other, and maybe someday they'd have sex.
Yes.
You know, and truly that's what it was. That's why you went places, and that's why you went to the bar, you know, to meet a guy. And then maybe the next week you go and you have dinner or drinks or something. And then you see if you want to get to know them further, and you go from there. And then eventually you have sex. I mean, it's like, there's not this pattern of doing these kinds of things. And people talk all the time, the youngsters, they talk about how on the apps, these people will come on the apps and show interest and then just like lead them on, never a good date to meet in person and then ghost them.
Yeah, I know. I hear about that all the time.
A ton of that going on. And it's like these guys don't even have the balls to like go out on a date, let alone ask somebody out in person. Mm-hmm. When does that ever happen?
Well, and I want to say, I hear about that all the time. And then I'll have these female clients that'll say to me, oh my God, this guy, we had one text exchange and he said, you know what, let's just talk over the phone and see if we should go out together. I'm like, yeah, good. Person,
that's good.
That's the next step.
Right.
Like, or, hey, let's stop talking on the app. Let's meet. I'm like, okay, great. Don't meet them in a dark alley.
Yeah.
Don't meet them in
was she scared to go do that?
I don't know. I think it felt so foreign in that moment. But I was like, this is a good thing. Mm-hmm. This is a good thing. You need to, because I always tell my clients, you want to spend as little time on these apps as you can. The apps are for meeting people, making the thing and getting to the date. But you're right. People, I think that the fact that the apps have, and I think it's the combination of that and the fact that it became sort of acceptable to Netflix and chill. I mean, obviously there has been this evolution of dating where, the dates aren't as formal and no one's coming in and meeting your dad and, blah, blah, blah. But there was a certain level of like back in my 20s when I was dating that men did like, pick you up and
they had to pick you up and like
there was a little bit of that. And you knew a lot about the guy and a lot about how much he liked you by where are you eating? How much thought or planning did he put into any of this?
Did he open the door? Did he open the car door for you? Did he it's like all those little things to see, how considerate is this person? How much do they really care?
But I think the problem is we went to this place of Netflix and chill where it's like we're just meeting. And now that we're not requiring anything of this person, we're requiring them to have a Netflix account. And then you're coming over to the house and maybe bringing some wine or something, and then you're maybe having sex. Yeah. And I do think that, men would work for it. And I'm not making a comment about, I think women should have the right to have sex and casual sex. That is not my point at all. That I think you need to do what you want to do.
No, we're talking about meeting a life partner.
And I really do believe that there is something about, someone who takes the time to make a reservation, to shower and change.
Yeah, put on some nice clothes. Yeah.
Pick you up and a lot of that. And I will absolutely tell you, And I'm also a big proponent of who's paying. I really do. I feel like whoever asks the person out has to pay. Yeah. But I really do believe if that man's asking you out, I would not judge it based on how nice the restaurant is, but whether or not he pays. Because I really do believe like it could be $10, but he has to pay. Yeah. And I think that's about being taken care of and showing up. It's got nothing to do with money.
Yeah. Well, you remember the book, The Rules?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Anyone who's Gen X will know there's this book came out in the 80s called The Rules.
The 90s.
Was it the 90s?
It was the 90s. Yeah. Okay. It came out, but I remember it in the 90s. Yeah, it was mid-90s. Mid to late 90s.
And it was this woman's guide to dating. She had dated a lot and, finally found the man that she married. And she had these rules. And it was like you said, the first date has to be like what you just described. And then you have to play a little hard to get. Like if he calls the next day and wants to go out, it's like, no, I'm busy, but I can make plans for 3 days from now. And like if he calls and leaves a message, you don't call him back right away. It was kind of like playing hard to get.
A little bit, but how much do you care? How much do you care?
If you're not willing to work for it, if you're not willing to make some plans with me in advance, then how in the world is this ever going to go anywhere or be a satisfying relationship?
And I don't know if I necessarily believe with all of these, like if he asks you for this night, then say this or that. I don't believe in the game playing, but I think at the core, what The Rules really was saying was, listen, men are not complicated. We make them complicated. Men are very simple. And if a man wants you, he will make sure that you know that he wants you.
Oh, and he will. Yeah. If he wants to go out with you,
will pursue that.
Yes.
If he wants
you.
Yeah.
These women who they like just perseverate. I don't know, is that the right word? About, well, he hasn't called me. And it's like, look, if a man wants to be with you, you will know. He will move heaven and earth to get to you and to be with you and to take you out. If you have to even question, like, what does it mean that he hasn't called me since last week? It means he's not that into you. Another book. Another 90s book.
Yeah. And I think that all of those reasons are excuses. Now, I do think that there are men out there that maybe aren't calling you or you're not calling back. And I think the part that's hard is we feel such rejection. And the reality is that why that guy isn't calling you back, it's got to do with him. It's his own crapola. He's not ready to be in a relationship. And I think it's also hard when we meet people who don't choose us. We are not their person. Like someone else is their person, or maybe not. Maybe you were meant to be their person and they're choosing not to be with you. And I think that part about relationships, Dave said it too. He said, this is why relationships are hard. And it's like, yeah, they're hard because, and why romance and dating is hard is because, it does require you to put yourself out there. And I think that is something else that we're seeing with young people today is I think life is really, really hard now. I think it's really, really challenging. And I do wonder if young people maybe aren't dating and putting themselves out there just because of just bandwidth, like how much mental health stuff they can take in. Yeah,
it's hard for people to go out as much. Because of all the stimulation in the world and in people's lives that people, they don't have the bandwidth to go out to a bar or go out to some place where there's going to be a lot of young people there. And I mean, that is a big part of it. But let's get into these couples. Enough from us. We're just like a couple old ladies. But let's talk about these people. Okay, so let's just start. We'll get these two out of the way. Taylor and Daniel.
Well, they're living their best life. They bought a home. Daniel got a weird tattoo of Taylor's eyes. On his chest. And it was weird because it was like in a box. Like if it were just the eyes, maybe, but it was like a rectangle. With her eyes in it. Never seen anything like that. But this is what I love about young people. Daniel's like, well, I went to my tattoo artist and I showed it to him.
How many tattoos do you have?
I'm like, you have a tattoo artist? Should I get one since I have no tattoos? I mean, that is a phrase that was not said in our day.
Yeah. So, they both looked great.
I don't know. What do you think about Daniel's mustache?
I liked it.
Okay.
I thought he looked good. I think he slimmed down a little bit. He looked very handsome. She looked beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved her dress. I thought she looked gorgeous. But life has not been totally easy. Daniel's mom was diagnosed with cancer. And, but the whole family, including Taylor's family, is pitching in and helping to care for her. And,
his dad, right? Like Daniel's dad would stay with Taylor's brother because he lived right near the hospital. And apparently Taylor's brother is an administrator at that hospital. So, so they're blending. The families are blending very, very well.
Yeah. The only thing I found odd about all of this was why were they dressed in those costumes as an eagle and Uncle Sam?
I don't know.
Those balloon costumes. What was that about?
Was that Halloween? Or was that was that 4th of July?
It had to be one of the two, but
I think these two like dressing up and costuming. I feel like, I mean, and again, that took a lot of work, those videos. And then, of her putting her hand out and how many times they had to do that again. This is a young person thing too, because I would be like, oh, forget it. I can't do this.
What was that handout thing? Was that like,
it was like a series of videos. Like every time they would go out, maybe they would take a shot of them and he would put his hand out and she would hold it and then you would see this over and like you piece it together.
Over and over. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's just too much for me.
Well, I wish them the best. They'll be having a baby next reunion, probably.
Yes.
So not much to really say about that. All right. Okay. So who should we talk about next?
Well, why don't we just go in order? The next couple that was talked about were Devin and Virginia, right?
Yes. And Virginia looked stunning.
Yes. I like the shorter hair.
She had a real different energy, because in the show, she was much more like, kind of, soft, sort of sing-songy. And in this reunion, she was very confident. She seemed much more confident, powerful, sure of herself. And good for her. She didn't mince any words.
Oh, no, she did not.
She said that, she brought up several topics that Devin did not want to talk about on camera, and she respected that. But now without mentioning what the topics were, she's going to tell you what the topics are, because she says that she believes in a woman's right to choose. And that came up in the show. And he clearly was not on the same page with her. And she said she 100% supports the LGBTQIA community. And she also said that she thinks that everyone should have respect for all religions, religious faiths. She has people in her family who are Muslim, even though, she's Christian and he's a Christian. And apparently he had a problem with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he tried to brush it off like, oh, well, you don't have to agree on everything. You can have different, beliefs about this and that and still be together. And it's like, well, you can't have different beliefs about core values.
Yeah. Yeah. One of you can't believe that human rights are everybody's rights. And one of you is like, well, let me pick and choose the people that I think is okay to have, these basic rights. Yeah. I mean, vanilla or chocolate ice cream, that you can get past. Yeah. You can't get past gay marriage and some of these other things that she's talking about.
No. And I think she just, I don't know, she seemed not mad, but just a little bit like she gave him a lot of slack, it sounded like. And then it was just too many things. Like you said, he wouldn't even pick up the basket to bring in his birthday gift.
Yeah. Well, the $1,000 check.
The $1,000 check that he claims that he was going to tell her about, I don't know when, after the wedding.
Yeah, I thought that, and he had no comment for that. Did you see that? He had zero. His one comment was, well, I was going to tell you about it once after we got married, after we had the check. But there's a little bit of like, did you hold on to it? Did you cash it? Did you not cash it? I mean, I think it would be one thing if it's like, no, I never cashed it. I put it right here, but I wanted to know if he cashed it, because if he cashed it, he was pocketing that.
Yeah. And then she said she saw a note from an ex-girlfriend he claims that it's not really an ex-girlfriend, because now they're best friends and she's involved with one of his friends. But there was something in that note that upset her. And I think what upset her was she said she didn't know that they had previously dated before she saw that note. And this is someone who I think is hanging out with them. And he never mentions that, I used to date her or whatever. Again, it's just kind of like, why are you hiding facts?
Yeah. But she was very, very direct. So, her mom, I guess, is a representative.
Yeah. She's a Democratic state representative.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So obviously Virginia would have very strong feelings and anyway. Yeah. He was such a dud. I'm sorry. He is such a dud.
Absolutely.
I don't know if of all the men there, his stuff isn't as egregious in some. There's some, but
it's debatable,
but I think and he should feel so lucky that Virginia is not a messy person, because it sounds like she could have really buried him. She could have made him look horrendous.
I'm sure there's a lot more.
Yeah. And maybe that'll come out. I hope it does, because I don't see why she needs to protect him.
Yeah, well, he really didn't have much to say for himself. And it was pretty short and sweet.
Honestly, I don't even think Devin's even thought about those things. I don't think Devin's thought past his little world. Do you know what I mean?
And
what his parents have told him.
Yeah.
And what his parents have told him about, no, we don't like this kind here in this family. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? I just don't think he's ever really thought beyond what was told to him. So.
Did he go to college? Did he go off to did he leave home and go to college and stuff? I can't remember. I mean, I know because he coaches at the school where they went to high school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not even sure he's ever really gone out and had more life experience. Doesn't seem like it. He seems very immature, just very, not a lot of world experience.
Mm-hmm.
And he's young.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and the other thing too is apparently like Devin said something. There was a, Virginia was telling everyone that Devin, that after the wedding, like she was trying to contact him,
mm-hmm.
and that according to Virginia, Devin stopped answering her calls and then told everyone that she was the one that ghosted him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the women all pipe up because he starts to defend himself. And he's like, no, I didn't say that. And Molly's like, yeah, you told me. And this other person's like, no, you told me too. And then he said something to the effect of like, well, they were really drunk. Right. They like, it was Madison and Molly back up Virginia's story.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, they were very drunk and being nosy. And
they came up to me and they were really drunk. And there was a little debate about who ghosted who.
Yeah.
But I believe Virginia.
Yeah. And I also believe that even if those two women were drunk, they wouldn't have both misunderstood it. Do you know what I mean? It seemed pretty clear.
Yeah.
So anyway. Peace out, Devin.
Peace out. Okay. So what is the next? Ben and Sarah?
Yes. Or Joey. No.
I think it was Ben and Sarah.
Okay.
Maybe. Who cares? Let's do Ben and Sarah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one, geez. This was really messed up. Like after the wedding that didn't happen, I guess he stayed. They lived together for like a week or two. And then she had to go to Nashville to finish this traveling nurse assignment. And he was going to come join her and stay for the last 2 months and live with her. And they had all these plans. They were very specific about he was going to fly there and he could use her car. I mean, they talked about this in detail. And he can work remotely and she was going to set up a desk for him. And then she leaves. And once she gets there and he finds out she got there safely, he dropped her from his Find My Friends. So she couldn't no longer see his location. And then she texted him like 3 scripted apologies for basically, I guess, breaking up with her, ghosting her. And then the best part was that then he got some advice from Jimmy.
And I loved how Ben was like, I don't want to say anything. And then the women are like, it was Jimmy.
Yeah, because immediately Vanessa's like, well, who was it? And he's like, I don't want to say. And then they're like, it was Jimmy. And
which is just the person you want to get advice from. Jimmy.
Was he last season or the season
No,
before?
He was season 6.
Okay. Yeah, so this was his advice to Ben. You need to be on good terms with Sarah before the reunion, and you need to rehearse your responses. So you're both saying the same thing. So Ben contacts Sarah to try to get on the same page with her. And she's just like, why the fuck are you calling me?
Yeah. Well, because I think the other thing was when he sent her those text messages, those scripted messages, I think she just looked at them and was like, I'm not going to respond to you, which good for you, because I think rightly so. It was a little bit of like, I'm done. Like, I don't have any more emotional bandwidth to even explain anything to you. And I'm sure anyway, the fact that he goes and talks to Jimmy of all people and then thinks that that's a good idea. It's just, this is unreal.
Yeah. It's like, I know I haven't talked to you in like, a year, but let's
get on the same page.
Let's rehearse our reunion answers. And then they confronted him about the stuff about his church's stance on LGBTQIA. And he said that he didn't remember that sermon or that video. And furthermore, he didn't really pay attention because it didn't apply to him.
No. and again, so that contradicts the fact. So if you really have gay friends, like you showed us you did when you all hung out, you're basically saying because it did not apply to me, even though I have these gay friends. I mean, it makes no sense.
No.
One of the two, I mean, either, again, I will die on the hill that he hired those people, that none of those people are his friends, that these are periphery friends, that he felt obligated to come on the show. Because I think he is all about his image.
Psych Legal Pop will be right back after these messages.
Chicago, 2011. A cop is murdered. Police and prosecutors swear they have the trigger man. He swears he didn't do it. How far will each side go to prove they're right?
Like it's just one bombshell after another, you know, where you're like, what?
The story of a PlayStation, a brain-eating amoeba, and the relentless pursuit of justice. Off Duty, out now. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
And he's the one where I was just watching a TikTok video earlier today. And I guess this was one that came out a year ago. This was the infamous one that came out. I mean, maybe it wasn't the first TikTok video, but she was one of the women who sort of outed Ben. And she went to the University of Minnesota with him. And basically just about what a douchey player he is, like not to trust anything that he says, that he's just awful. And that he's the one that handed out cards to women after he slept with them with his YouTube handle and wanted them to follow him on YouTube.
Oh my God. Yeah. Sarah said she felt like he love bombed her, you know, in retrospect.
Yeah.
That's what he did. And it's not sincere. It's completely insincere.
Yeah.
No, anyone who dates him after this,
that's on you.
That's on you. You've been warned.
Yeah.
All right. Is that it about Ben? And
yeah, I'm just looking at my my notes and all that. Yeah, I think, and Madison brings this up because I think one thing is about this group is I think it helped tremendously how much the women had each other's backs because these men were gaslighting them. I mean, I don't think we've ever saw a season where men were gaslighting women to this extent. Like about, no, I didn't say that. And then 3 people having to come in and be like, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Did. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Joey and Monica.
Yeah. And speaking of, Joey slid into Madison's DMs after he saw her in person at the get together. And she spilled the beans about that. And he tried to downplay that. And Monica said she felt gaslit because Joey and Madison did date a bit in the pods. And then Madison decided that she, didn't really have romantic feelings towards him. And he was keeping that information from Monica. And Monica's just finding out that this happened, even though nothing really happened. But, again, Joey, he turned out to really be
a douche.
Not good. I mean, and, poor Monica, she was very upset because she saw watching the show back that she could see that this guy doesn't love me at all. And he's not even attracted to me. He doesn't want to be physical with me. He doesn't want to be close to me and touch me. And so then why would I want to reciprocate? Because then he starts complaining, well, you never did this or that. And it's like, well, why would I want to when you're not giving me any signals? You're not giving me any indication that you're even attracted to me. And then Joey tried to blame her sister.
Yes, which I thought was awful. That was wrong. He's like, well, I saw that your sister didn't have any, that she was so negative. So I, as if he's like protecting her, as if it's his way of protecting the family or something, that he didn't want to get in between these sisters. The whole thing was so weird.
I think that Sister Nicole, she had his number.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of got on her in the beginning because she kind of came down kind of harsh with Monica. But I don't know. I think that maybe she detected his bullshit.
Yeah, maybe.
And, and she could see, and she just didn't. She was trying to protect her sister.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently she was right.
Yes. Well,
Sister was right.
Yeah.
And he had to come in on that skateboard again.
Ugh. Yes. It needs to end. It just needs to end with you. And the Hawaiian shirts and the other things. Did they show that extra scene? I can't remember where I saw this extra scene where apparently there is a scene where and Monica's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, and I think she's going to meet all of his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And all the friends are like, God, we're really surprised that Joey went on the show. He was never really into marriage. He never talked about those things. He was very anti-marriage. We're kind of surprised to see him like this. And even his friends were bringing up to him. And I think that, apparently, again, I think he would tell her one thing, like, no, I am into marriage. And that was the old me. And then she would go and meet with someone and who would give her some other story
version. Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of these women were doing back and forth of like, well, hold on a second. This person's saying this, you're saying this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these men seem to have a real issue with the truth. Like they don't quite understand what it is.
So these guys, the only explanation is if these guys aren't serious about being in a relationship and being honest, the only reason they're on this show is for some attention and some fame and some followers or whatever it is. And it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, and it backfired on all of them because now everyone's looking at them and, not liking them. I'm not going to go follow Joey.
Oh, God. Ugh.
Oh, God.
Oh, someone did correct us. One of our listeners, I got an Instagram message. This person slid into our DMs to say that it was changed. It used to be physician's assistant, but now it was changed to physician's associate. So it is the same thing.
Okay.
Apparently.
Okay.
Hopefully I got that correctly. Now I'm correct. Now I feel like I have to look back on the message. But yes, it is the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just thought a different name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how about, I guess, who do we have left? Dave and
Dave.
Lauren. Now, you talked about this last week about the guy who was, the other guy, the friend with benefits, Stan, who is just real thirsty and posting stuff, acting like he's on the show, putting himself in like the Love is Blind caption photo type thing. Well, it turns out that this guy had bad intentions, and he just wanted, to get on TV or be part of this drama or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dave regrets listening to this guy, and he's trying to do this mea culpa, and he looked real pathetic. I mean,
he did. He was so rosy, and God, the men with the no socks and the short pants. I really hate this trend. All these young guys wear like these tight pants, no socks. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, he looked like he'd been out skiing all day. Like he's all sunburned kind of. And he just, you could tell he just looked, he did not want to be there at all. I mean, he looked like he knew he was going to get his ass kicked, and he was just like, okay, let's just get this over with. And, Lauren kind of says, I don't really buy any of this.
Yeah.
This is too little too late. And you had my phone number, and it's been a year, and you haven't called me at all to express any of this or say anything about this. I don't know how long ago all this stuff came out about this guy being.
Well, this is the other part of it too, is apparently he says for an entire year, they all believed what this guy was showing until
the show
came to light.
Yeah.
But here's the part, like, and I think Lauren made this point, but it's also, so this guy who apparently you don't know quite so well, if he was doing all this stuff and you were quote unquote fooled by him, but not one person in your friend group had an inkling about this guy. I find that hard to believe. I find this is not new to Dan. Dan does this kind of crapola. I'm sorry. I do not buy anything that Dave is selling. He truly, truly wanted an out and he found one. And I think honestly, he knew like Lauren's too good for me. I mean, he's like one of these guys who just cannot handle it when a woman of some kind of quality and value likes them and is willing to call them on their crapola. I think that was just too much for Dave. It was and too much.
He even tried to say that his sister felt bad about the whole thing.
Oh, that sister.
Please.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the truth is about this sister. I don't know what I don't think the sister really gave two shits. Honestly, I think he was just using that as an excuse. Again. Like, if my sister doesn't approve, I can't do this. And it's like, just, do you really think your sister cares? And she wrote a letter. Lauren wrote a letter to his sister and he refused to give it to her. This sister might not even exist. I don't know.
Well, the thing was, and she called him on that too. She said he did then claim I did give her the letter. And Lauren's like, well, when did you give her the letter? Or maybe Vanessa asked that, like, when? And Lauren's like, the night that I gave you the letter and you went to go have dinner with her, it was still in your pocket. So when did you give it to him? He never answered it.
No.
Oh, I gave it to my sister. Because he knows that makes him look really crappy. He knows that makes him look bad. So he
never gave it to her.
No, he never gave it to her. He never had an intention to give it to her. I truly think he got scared. I think he got scared. And he does admit that Lauren's far more emotionally mature than he is. And it's like, yeah, no kidding. But it's not like a 30-year-old and a 32-year-old. It's like a 12-year-old and a 30-year-old here. I mean, this isn't like he's acting like a 22, 23, 24-year-old. He's acting like a child.
Yeah. Like a junior high schooler.
Yeah. Like, oh no, I can't like you because you like me. That's, you know what? Honestly, Dave's issue is Dave doesn't like anybody that likes him because he hates himself so much. He really does not like himself.
Yeah. He's like, why would this person like me? Yeah.
Yeah. Why would the smart, beautiful, competent woman want to be with me? There must be something wrong with her. Oh, she, slept with this guy. Okay. That's all he needed.
There you go. There's my evidence. Yeah. Yeah. And Lauren just seemed like she is just so over this and just so beyond it. Like she really didn't even talk that much. It was just sort of like, this is
that whole thing of like, I feel like she's the one that got away. It's a little bit like, again, men will do, if Dave really felt like she was the one that got away, then Dave he would have been calling her. He would have reached out to her. He want to be with her. No, Dave can't admit that he needs years of therapy to figure out why do you hate yourself, Dave? Why do you think so little of yourself that you can't be loved by someone?
I don't know. How old was he? I don't remember.
I think he's 32.
No, how old was he when his mom died?
Oh, I don't know.
Because his mom died. There might be that might be the origin.
Some mommy issues.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what, she must have, he's only 32. So, I don't know how old he was when she died, if he was really young or not, but yeah, I don't know. That was too bad. And now he's humiliated himself in front of America and nobody's going to want to date him. Although I'm sure someone will.
But also Molly called him out on stuff too, right? Because Molly said, listen, he was telling me I was his number one. That's how I felt. And
yeah, he said we should talk about what kind of ring you want.
Yeah.
Molly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So then there's all this extra stuff happening because it's the 5-year anniversary of Love Is Blind.
Yes, it is.
So they're celebrating. And so they did this top 5 moments from Love Is Blind, which I thought was really
stupid
because I can think just off the top of my head of so many more, much better moments.
Well, you know what it is? They had a problem with recency. Was it recency?
It was all
recency bias. Except for season 1 of Lauren and Cameron meeting each other. That surprised me. That's your one thing from season 1 would be that scene. I mean, I don't know. That It's weird. But yeah, the rest of it was all stuff that happened in the last year.
Oh, yeah, because what about the girl Gianna running out in her wedding dress and falling in the mud? I think that was more dramatic than the, Lauren and Cameron thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were the first reveal ever. But yeah, remember the woman who, like, I'm 34, he's 24. I mean.
Oh, and she was the one who, she brought her dog with her, and the dog was like licking the wine out of the wine glass.
Oh, Jessica. Yeah. And then there was also, remember Shayna and Shane and Deep D and that the guy like, can I lift you up on my shoulders if we went to a concert? The one that was trying to see if anyone was overweight. That Indian guy.
Who was the one who the cuties, the oranges, they got in that fight and she told him off at the altar?
Yes. Yes. And we found out that it wasn't that bad. It's Zeneb. I did not like her. I really didn't. I think she gave that guy was that bad.
She dressed him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many. Yeah. So they've got the Jimmy and Chelsea, Megan Fox moment.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name of the couple. Is it Mark and somebody and Sarah Ann was the third person?
Jeremy with an A, that douchey guy. Jeremy and
Laura. Okay. Then they had Garrett's makeover.
Yeah. That's weird.
That's not, I mean, come on, people. And then Cameron and Laura. And then the top one was where Jessica told Jimmy, when you see me, you're going to have a heart attack and die. So,
yeah,
I don't know. And then they do this song. It's just so bizarre. I don't know who the artist is who's written a special song, and the artist and the musicians, they're all like in the pods and walking through the pods.
The guy's name was Alex, and I'm like, oh God, this isn't Alex from the show, is it?
Yeah, at first I thought it was. They're like
another
Alex.
nondescript white guy. I was like, is this him?
They looked kind of similar.
Yeah.
And so they're doing this song, and then everyone on the panel, they're all standing up with their gold wine goblets, dancing and swaying. It was so awkward and weird. Oh, but then they brought out, this was kind of a highlight. They brought out AD.
Well, you're skipping the whole Madison, Meg, Mason, Alex section.
All about those people.
Yes, yes.
We have to go back to that. You know why? Because I think I completely tuned out during this because it was so boring.
Well, some people felt like it dragged a little bit, but a lot has come out about this Alex guy. That there have been things that have come out about him, and girls have said that, he was one of these guys that would hang out, you know what I mean? Like one of these guys that was 19, 20, 21, and that would hang out with like high school kids, when you're kind of like, and he would hang out, and that he dated a lot of young women, like that he's super creepy and gross.
And doesn't he use his story, his like bullying nerd story that might not exactly be accurate, and uses that as
it could be, we don't know, but he does. I mean, and this is the part that I really feel for women is you can meet some guy and you can see some guy and you hear some story about him being a massive dork in high school. And you think, oh my God, he's so sweet. He's so nice. Oh, he's this broken bird or whatever it is. He turns out to be a douche. You know what I mean? It's a little bit like even these love bombing people are not all smooth. They're not smooth talkers. They're these Alexes, I think, are even more dangerous because they're love bombing jerks in the body of this nerdy, sweet guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Madison probably felt like, finally, I'm meeting some guy who's nice and normal and sweet and kind and is going to love me for me. And then it turns out like, oh God, he's just as terrible as the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know. When Madison was going at him and then she brings out the texts and all that, I zoned out. I don't know what they were talking about. I could care less. I could not care less. I mean, it was...
Yeah. Well, I think what the biggest thing that showed is that I think all these men saw Madison for the first time and saw how pretty she was, And I think a lot of them, I think Alex was like, oh crap. I think Mason was like, oh crap. And I think Joey also was, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And which tells you a lot that you do all care about looks. Like if you did not connect with Madison in the pods,
right,
then why do you care now? Yeah. You know, no, you saw what she looked like. So, but she did say something to the effect of like the text messages that she brought out. I mean, they weren't that startling. I think they mainly were showing that Alex was claiming that, I think Alex is a little bit of one of these people that he tries to be a guy's guy around all the guys and he's broing out with them. And then I think he was dishing dirt on all these guys to Madison. And he was talking about some things about Mason. I think he was like, but here you are being this guy's best friend, defending him on the show. And I think that's what pissed her off. The text messages weren't as explosive as I think she wanted them to be, but she had receipts. I mean, she wasn't wrong that Alex did say some negative. He wasn't nice about Mason in these text messages.
Yeah, he was just trying to show that he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. He's two-faced, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
But what's the deal with Meg and Mason and all of that kind of stuff? Like, I didn't quite understand that whole thing.
They dated for a few weeks or
but Meg also was not, she was kind of getting on Madison about some of this stuff too. Kind of getting in her business or something mad. I think Meg was mad that, I think this is what it was. I think that she basically was expressing this, like, you knew how much I was into Mason, yet you I think she was pissed that Madison kept dating him, even though Madison had someone
that into him. Yeah.
That Madison wasn't that into him, that she was stringing him along. I mean, I think that's really what Meg's beef was about. But in the end, right? Like, you chose not to be with Mason because of what Mason did, not her, you know?
Yeah. They could have gotten to know each other more and stuck it out. And then they did. Then they dated. And they decided they were better as friends. So who cares?
Anyway, God, I hate all these people are so annoying.
Okay. So, so AD from, I don't know, season 6. I don't know where we are.
Was she the Jimmy season? So season 6.
I think so. Yeah. So she went on that show Perfect Match and she met this guy, Ollie Sutherland, who was on Love is Blind UK.
Which I actually watched and recapped with Amy Archer at Little Miss Recap.
Oh,
we did the whole thing together, like all episodes. Sometime mid last year. So go check that out. On Little Miss Recap.
So what did you think of Ollie on that?
I wasn't that enthralled by Ollie. So I was a little sad to see that this is the guy that she picked. I was like, ugh.
I know, because I love AD.
I love AD. And I don't know. What was the issue with Ollie? What happened with Ollie and I can't remember what went wrong per se, but I mean, I don't think Ollie's necessarily a bad guy. He just wasn't my favorite. And I think AD deserves someone a lot better. And I'm happy for AD. And obviously Netflix or their show is really getting behind AD's, like, God, to get that kind of intro to your podcast, you know, like they're really setting her up for an audience, you know, I mean, that's like, so I think they really believe in AD. My concern with AD is I don't want this guy just marrying her and wanting to do all this because he thinks this is what he should be doing, or now we're this power reality couple. I just don't completely trust him. That's all.
Okay. Well, gosh.
But I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, I don't know his ins and outs. So, but he wasn't my favorite.
All right. Well, I hope that all goes well.
Yeah, I really do. I want AD to be happy.
Yeah. So, so they had the goofy thing at the end, and then they announced, another goofy thing they did. They did both the sock thing and the musical instrument thing from Monica's family. It's like, it's like, oh God, you guys are so desperate for content. Like, enough already.
You could have made it 10 minutes shorter. It was like an hour and 9 minutes or something like that. Yeah. It's a little bit like, then make it an hour. Tighten it up.
Yeah, I know. So then they said that the next season is going to be in Denver.
Yes, which I think I can see that.
I know nothing about Denver. I've never been to Denver.
Neither have I. I've always wanted to go. It's one of my places.
Yeah.
That I keep talking about going and never going.
But yeah, they didn't give us any previews of any contestants. So I don't know what that means, if anything.
Yeah. I mean,
because the last time the people they previewed at the last reunion, it was Alex and Joey and the other woman, Brittany. That
yes.
What's his name dated?
Yes.
Devin dated.
Yes, that's right. And we were like, ugh. We were like, these people look that great.
Who are these men?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought she looked good, but the other two.
Yeah, no, the men we said that the men were duds from that one moment. So I really hope the men of Denver, please, you get it together, please. I can't watch another season like this. This is just tragic.
It's discouraging.
It's very discouraging. It's very upsetting. All of these stats that you see about, right, who are the happiest people? Women who have never been married and never had kids. Those are the happiest people.
Wow. Well,
and all the stats, I mean, this is the part that drives me nuts is, right, men's life expectancy and their happiness goes down when they're single. But, I mean, the reality is you all need us a lot more than we need you. And start acting like, so start getting it together. Come on now.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I still like men. I just don't want to date any of
these guys.
Don't want to date any of these people. I don't know. I do think that the online stuff in the computer, it's really doing doing damage, and porn is really doing a lot of damage. And now do you know that having an AI girlfriend is a thing now, and it's going to get even more.
Yeah.
And they were predicting that the sex doll industry is going to basically overtake, it's going to make more money than the automobile industry.
Yeah. But I do think, and I mean, it would be great prime for people who can teach young people about dating.
Yeah. That should be mandatory.
Yeah. I mean, I just, and I've had clients that have paid money to be with these coaches, and they're, men who kind of how to approach women. And I have to give these guys, this one guy that I worked with, because he was always like, I'm in Vegas, I'm meeting women, I mean, but his whole thing, it wasn't about sleeping with them, but it was about approaches. He was practicing how to approach.
Yeah.
And so what he would do is anytime he was out, he would forced him to leave the house, be out and about in the world. And he would go to a coffee shop. And if he saw someone interesting, he would just start asking them about the book they were reading. And, but it was practice. They forced them to practice going to bars, meeting women, what's happening. I think we need a lot more. We need a lot more of that. And that's what makes me sad is I feel why aren't we doing that? Instead, we're oh, great, let's make more sex dolls.
Yeah.
Let's invest in sex dolls. It's no, let's not. Let's try to teach people how to relate to people.
And I sound like 100 years old, but people have to get off their phones.
Yes.
And look around, look at other people, because no one's going to approach you anywhere if you've got your nose buried in your phone. And you have to be looking around with no headphones in, just kind of taking in the environment. I can't tell you how many men I have met at the gym, at the grocery store, at the coffee shop, whatever, because we just locked eyes.
Yes.
We just caught each other's gaze. And then if you kind of stare a few seconds too long, that's the signal.
That's the signal.
That
yes,
means
it
you're
is.
open to it. If you immediately look away, then you don't want to be approached. But if you just hold it for 3 seconds.
Or you can pause, look away, and then look back. And if they're still staring at you, you know that.
Yes. But that takes all kinds of effort, which apparently this is a lost art on people.
Yeah. Well, because I think what happens is everyone gets so focused on the zero, what is it? Is it zero sum game? Is that the right term for it? Where you can't go into it with the outcome in mind. You have to really go into it with, I'm going to go out into the world and I'm going to connect with people. And whatever that looks like that. What happens is people are well, I was at that coffee shop for 2 hours and I didn't look at anyone and no one talked to me and I'm not in love now. I'm not dating. I'm not married.
Well, it's not going to happen the first time you do it. Probably.
And that's the thing is that it requires you. So it isn't just, it's not one and done. It's going to require you on a regular basis to go out into the world. that's why, like, in some ways, as strange as it sounds, like that guy who was doing this dating coaching, it worked for him because he was paying this guy all this money, you know, to do this. And he, like, you know, had to show up. So I would recommend to people, like, pick something that you know, get out into the world. And if you need to hire someone to help you, hire someone, like, but yeah, you're not going to meet the love of your life in your living room.
No,
they're not there.
You know what? Just pick something you like to do. Like if you like sports, go to sporting events, put your phone away, look around, make conversation with people around you. You know, there's people who there are people who want to talk to you out there. Like but you will never notice them if you're looking at your phone.
Yeah.
You'll never see them. You won't even see them at all. So anyway, that's
our dating advice.
That's our dating advice, even though I was dating back in the Stone Age, but it worked. It worked for me then. So, well, what can I say? Had lots of dates.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, another season is over. Yeah. Gosh, it's such a whirlwind. It just kind of comes in and takes over our world, and then it leaves like a ship in the night. Like
it's a month-long,
like romance. Joey on the skateboard. It's here and then it's gone.
It is. It's a month-long romance, and then you have to wait like 6 more months for another one.
Just waiting for Dave to call you. You know,
waiting for him to deliver that letter.
Oh. Ay. All right. Well, so thank you so much for joining us for Love is Blind. If you just came to us because you found us through Love is Blind, stick around, stay. We talk about sister wives. We talk about documentaries where the episode later this week on Thursday is sort of a reality roundup recap. I don't know what to call it. This Week in TV? Is that what we're calling it?
This Week in Reality TV. We're talking about 3 new shows: The Baldwins with Love Megan, and then Denise Richards and her Wild Things.
Yes.
And 2 out of 3 of the shows we recommend. You have to tune in to find out which ones they are.
We're doing that. If you want to hear more from us or you're curious, please go check out our Patreon. We get all these episodes ad free, plus you get a bonus every week. Plus, if you join our $8 tier, we do a true crime and an Ask Us Anything. Please follow us on social media, subscribe, give us a review, all that good stuff. We really do appreciate all of that. And all of these things, whether it's subscribing or giving us a review or going on page, any of those things are great ways, and we really appreciate the support. So
yes, thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit Jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, ladies. When you've done the work, you want your hydration to do the same. Introducing new Gatorade Lower Sugar, now with no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors. And 75% less sugar and all the electrolytes of regular Gatorade, now available nationwide.